from Gombe State on what we are doing on right-of-way abuse. Let me say, a while ago during my presentation, I did mention that only this week, the Federal Executive Council approved the harmonized ECOWAS enforcement template for right-of-way management for the control of vehicles and trucks that are involved in freight movement in terms of size, axle load, and weight. Again, based on that approval, we are rolling out a new management template for our right-of-way administration. We are collaborating with the Federal Road Safety Corps for effective enforcement of the new template. And the template comes with a number of sanctions, which has been harmonized for the entire ECOWAS sub-region. We agree that before now, the infrastructure for administering the right-of-way in our country has been very weak, but we'll be working behind the scene to strengthen that particular infrastructure. And we're going to do that this time around with the active collaboration of the Federal Road Safety Corps for effectiveness. Then for James from Adamawa, he asked about our plan to link the 6 geopolitical zones in the country with dual carriageway. Is asking how far we have gone with the program. Let me inform Nigerians that this program is going on very well. Because if you look at, before now, Nigerians, we've had a plethora of dual carriageways, but however, they were disjointed. There was no linkage between them. In other words, what the administration of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan seeks to do is to ensure that Nigerians will be able to travel from the farthest part of the country, for instance in Maiduguri, and is able to drive on dual carriageway until he lands in Lagos or he lands in Port Harcourt. And we are on our way to doing that. If you notice the many corridors we are working on, dualization of roads, major arterial roads, or rehabilitation of dilapidated dual carriageway, they are all part of this program. Just now, a number of questions were asked on so many of the alignment. For instance, a major component of this program is our ongoing dualization from Abuja to Lokoja, which by the grace of God will be brought to quick completion soon, because 2 of the sessions have actually been completed and the other 2 sessions are expected to be completed by December this year. And the Federal Executive Council in its wisdom approved that that corridor should stretch all the way from Lokoja to Benin City so that it will be able to connect, or rather link with the dual carriageway going from Benin to Shagamu, to Lagos, to Ibadan, to Ilorin on the right flank, and it's also able to connect with our dual carriageway from Benin through Sapele to Warri, and from Warri to Wele all the way to Port Harcourt and to Cross River. And on the northern flank, having completed the dual carriageway from Lokoja to Abuja, it means we're already connecting with the dual carriageway from Abuja to Kaduna and Kaduna to Kano. And as we speak, we have achieved well over 65% completion on the dual carriageway project going on from Kano through Wudi, through Jigawa State, through Yobe State, all the way to Maiduguri. So that is why we are driving all this project to quick completion, and at the same time, we want to ensure that the work is being done to standard, and when this ongoing dualization is completed, as well as the one from Benin to Onitsha, through Asaba, all the way to Enugu, all the way to Port Harcourt. I will just use this opportunity to answer the question on the Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway. Yes, like I said, the federal government is embarking on the systemic redevelopment of our arterial highway. And the Enugu-Port Harcourt Highway, we only awarded 2 sections of that road last year. Section 2 from Longpata to Umuahia area was awarded to Mr. Setraco. I flagged up the project personally in December last year, and work is ongoing. And the other session that was also flagged up, which was awarded, the Section 3, which was awarded to Arab contractors, stretches from Umuahia Tower to Aba Rail Crossing. This year, we are at the verge of awarding the outstanding 2 sessions. The first one from Enugu to Longpata area, and the second one from railway crossing in Aba all the way to Port Harcourt. So the goal is that once these corridors have been completed, Nigerians will suddenly realize that they will now be able to travel all the way, either from Port Harcourt to Lagos, or Port Harcourt to Kano to Maiduguri, or from Kano to Katsina. They will now be able to travel on, in an unbroken chain of dual carriageway. This is the goal, and this program this transformation program is very much on course. We are making progress by the day. Only this week on Wednesday, on the flank from Benin all right to Shagamu, we have about 3 sessions on that road where we have been engaged in these past 3 years, and the outstanding session, which stretches from Ajibandele to Shagamu, was awarded this last Wednesday. And if that session is completed, and when that session is completed, it's also going to link up with the ongoing work from Lagos to Ibadan, which means we are creating continuous corridors of dual carriageway across the country. So the program is very much on course. Then Emmanuel asked about yes, I saw the publication by Ogbonaya Oji. In fact, he wrote me directly too, apart from the publication. And I want to say that the Arochukwu Road, which is the subject of that publication, the road was actually awarded by the Federal Ministry of Works, but unfortunately the contractor was not able to access any certificate because he had not completed the work based on our new template. Because right now, the Federal Ministry of War, you don't just go to site and you just bulldoze on stretches or alignment of the road and you get a certificate. No, because we needed to stop the wastage of public funds that was associated with those kind of valuation. And we came up with a new template which made it mandatory that before you can earn an interim statement or certificate in the Federal Ministry of Work, you must have done work of a permanent nature. In other words, we want to see the base cost of your road, which means no matter the rainfall that will come after that, the road will be sustained. Before now, what we have had is that people come to site and do earthwork, and after every rainy season, you go back to square one or even worse than square one. And that was what gave rise to, several augmentation of our project, which led to needless wastage of public funds. So some contractors are finding it difficult to align to the new template, but majority of them, over 95%, are fully aligned. That particular contractor could not access his fund because of this, but only early this year that he was able to access his fund, and that project is going on, but I must agree that the pace of construction is slow, but we have already fired the first warning letter to the contractor, and we expect that they will sit up. Then on the Bokos Wampa Highway, yes, in Plateau State, I recall truly last year when the then Minister of State and the Ministry of Work inspected that particular project, it was brought to the fore that the contractor was not doing well. And immediately I got the report, I approved that the project be terminated. And we went through the various processes for the termination of that particular contract. And that road project is one of the candidate roads we will be awarding before the end of this year. So work is very much in progress on that road. On the Lafia-Shendan Road, what we are doing about it, I would want my friend Shigo to know that the Federal Ministry of Work is not able to engage, in every part of the country at the same time. We have a program and we are following our program religiously. I believe that in that particular axis, what we have on the table is the dualization of the Kefi, Akwanga, Makurdi, Night Mile alignment. And that is what is topical on the program. And once these major ones are done, before we can start taking a look at these other ones. But nevertheless, federal roads where the Federal Ministry of Work is not engaged at any point in time, the Federal Road Maintenance Agency has the responsibility to maintain those alignments, and that is what we are doing across the country. Then on the issue of curtailment of excess load from Mary in Port Harcourt, I think we have a plan now to combat the menace of excess ASO load on our road. Apart from what I talked about the harmonized ECOWAS template, we have now commenced direct engagement of heavy road users like the cement manufacturers and the steel companies and the bitumen companies. We're engaging them to ensure that we enforce the tonnage as far as those products are concerned. We believe that if we're able to achieve that from the base, we'll remove a lot of those trucks on the road while we allow the Federal Road Safety Corps to deal with other offenders that were mentioned. On the issue of finance, what we are doing about sustainability of road development, let me say that this very question is at the core of the road reforms we have embarked upon in our country. I mentioned a while ago that 2 reforms bills have been presented at the Federal Executive Council, the bills for the establishment of the Federal Roads Authority, as well as the National Road Fund. In fact, those bills were as a result of the realization, they emerged as a result of the realization that the way we are going, we cannot sustain road development in this country unless we reform the processes and align the processes with international best practice so that institutions in the road sector can rightly attract funding from a lot of sources, from multilateral agencies, from the private sector, and of course, for proper public-private partnership deals, because government alone cannot truly fund road development program in our country. The statistics I read out quite a while ago indicate that we need about the total project portfolio holding we have amounts to about 1.7 trillion naira. And according to the transformation agenda and the national to the second Niger Bridge. The second Niger Bridge is very much on course. In fact, early work commenced long time ago. The contractors, after the flag off, prepared the access road to the location of the bridge, and they have been doing a lot of early work. The ministry has also paid compensation for the alignment, and the alignment, as we speak, is being handed over to the NSIA Julius Berger Consortium for the second phase of the early work, which will necessarily involve a lot of dredging activities there and the commencement of piling on the alignment, which will signal the heavy engineering construction which everybody has been itching to see. On the Bodoboni Road, the administration is determined that this year, this particular road project with 3 bridges, which will provide for the very first time a road access into Bonny Island, will be awarded this year. In fact, you are aware that it was awarded since 2002, and the project faced a number of challenges. But however, we've been able to resolve those challenges, and the contract has been finally determined, paving the way for the reprocurement that is ongoing now. Before the end of the year, this particular road will be awarded. Then on the issue of debt being owed contractors, yeah, it is a common challenge and it runs through the system. We cannot run away from that, but we'll continue to do our utmost best to address debts that are being owed, and as long as we keep getting our releases, we'll keep tackling the issue of debt to contractors. Yaya asked, how has the insurgency affected projects in the Northeast? Clearly, the insurgency in the Northeast have actually affected project delivery in that zone. For instance, but for the insurgency, I believe that on the Kano-Maiduguri alignment, rather than the 58-60% we are today, we should have been hitting about 90% today. In fact, there are some of that alignment where the contractors have virtually moved out of sight, particularly in the Maiduguri area, because the contractors have lost workers on that side. Even as a ministry, we have lost engineers and support staff on that alignment. So it's a very delicate issue. We only hope that calm and normalcy will return to that part of the country so that we can ramp up construction activities on the road. Somebody said parking of trucks. Shagun from Lagos talked about the parking of trucks on the Papa Oshodi Expressway, hindering construction work and what we are doing about it. Yeah, we've been very concerned about this. There's a presidential decongestion committee for Apapa Port. I'm a member of that committee with my colleague in the Ministry of Transport and the special advisor to the president on performance management, Professor Moye. We'll be working around the clock to deal with this issue. And we are working with the NNPC as well as the Nigeria Ports Authority. And the system we are trying to put in place, if adhered to, will remove those trucks from the road. Until yesterday, the trucks were virtually out of that road. But I received a report from the Federal Controller of Works in Lagos yesterday that yesterday morning they found out that most of the trucks were coming back, and we are engaging them so that they go back to the agreed arrangement that no truck will come for loading except if the truck has a tally number. If we are able to enforce that, we'll be able to do away with this menace until the permanent solution is found. Because we do realize that one of the permanent solutions government is working at is the relocation of the tank farms from Apapa, which is at the core of the tankers takeover of that particular road. As soon as the vandalized distribution pipeline owned by the PPMC is restored, I believe we'll be able to permanently deal with that challenge. Uchenna asked what is happening to Usuka Obola for Ukalagu Road, which was awarded since 2009. Well, the road, according to him, was abandoned first after doing 100 meters of work, then later in 2012 after the award, after 500 meters. There are two reasons for with this road. The first one, in 2009, after the road was awarded, there was no enough budgetary provisions made for that road, so the contractor could not sustain construction work on the site. But the 2012 abandonment, after doing about 500 meters, is as a result of some technical challenges with the contractor faced, including the loss of a Bailey Bridge on that particular alignment. And the ministry, we are dealing with it, and we believe that once outstanding certificates on this job are paid, the contractor will go back to site because the technical challenges has been resolved by the Federal Ministry of Works. Whether the country has been able to engage youth in works? Yes, through the Federal Road Maintenance Agency. I said during my presentation that well over 7,000 youths have been trained for direct involvement in road construction activities across the country. Beyond that, all the major construction companies, and indeed any construction company in Nigeria that has any business to do with the Federal Ministry of War, has as one of its responsibilities the recruitment of Nigerians, those who have special skills and those who are just providing general labor on their project. And I want Nigerians to know that this job creation component of contract is one of the major issues for consideration by the Federal Executive Council before any contract is awarded. We must be able to demonstrate to the Federal Executive Council with Mr. President sitting as chair. We must be able to convince the council that whatever contract we give is going to create so much number of jobs. And the Ministry of Labor and Productivity, the Minister of Labor and Productivity has the responsibility of tracking those jobs that are being created through this job, and that is ongoing. Mazi talked about the Umuahia Ikoto Ekmane Road, and some other person, indeed, the very first question, Basi Okon also talked about that road. Well, let me say that Akwa Ibom State is not forgotten like they put it. That is not the issue. Yes, those roads were truly awarded since about 2009. but the contractors abandoned the projects. We have had in the past to invite most of the contractors, and because there was no ongoing works on them in some intervening years, the projects were not captured in the budget. But that has changed since last year. The Federal Road Maintenance Agency, they were given the marching order to keep maintaining the alignment until the Federal Ministry of Work procures them. And Akwa Ibom State and Cross River State, that particular axis is one of the major axes we are focusing our attention on this year as we prepare our next year budget. We have not forgotten about it. Only last month, I approved for the award of new maintenance contracts on this particular alignment, which originated from the Federal Road Maintenance Agency. Where the East-West Road, which Collins are incidentally, is a road now belonging to the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. But I do know that work on the road is on course, and I believe that with the dry season that is imminent, the contractor will ramp up construction activities on that particular alignment. On the issue of local content, yes, although in the Federal Ministry of Work we don't call it local content, but we have a deliberate policy to encourage indigenous contractors, in the execution of government projects. But what is at fault in this case is the issue of capacity. But because we want to keep building capacity of indigenous contractors, we encourage them, based on what we know their equipment and machinery holding is, we encourage them to start from the small and medium work, and we begin to grow with them to migrate from those category C to category B and onward to category A when they are doing well. And there are quite a few Nigerian companies that are doing well. What we have done in line with the local content policy is to, as much as possible, reserve all our category C contracts for Nigerian firms, and we are doing that, and the thing has been yielding a lot of good results. So many Nigerian companies are engaged by our ministry, but I must confess not all of them are doing well, because we have cases of some of them, even after a year or two, they are not able to work up to the 50% mark of the mobilization paid to them, and that is a very sad development. But there are a few of them that have done well, who have proven themselves, and will continue to do business with those that have done well, and we are migrating them from category C to category B. And there are some of them that are already in category A, and they are doing very well, so we'll continue to encourage them. The last question was asked by Mrs. Amontayo Omotosho on the issue of budgetary allocation, how we are faring with the mega releases. The truth is, everybody here knows that there are revenue challenges in this country since 2011, arising from oil theft, vandalization of oil pipeline, which is affecting the income the country is having. And of course, we also know that the unrest in certain parts of the country have also led to spending money that would otherwise have been used on infrastructure, on trying to maintain the peace and all that. So we believe that as we make progress in those areas, to try to ensure that oil theft is eliminated and the pipeline vandalization is put behind us and the peace returns to the country, we are going to be seeing a lot more funds being freed up for re-infrastructure development. Be that is made, we'll continue to do our best, to do the best we can with the resources available to us. That is why we're also intensifying the public-private partnership as a vehicle for rapid development of critical infrastructure in the road sector. So I thank you.